The string lights in our backyard looked like fallen stars tangled in the oak trees. I had spent 3 full weekends hanging them myself, climbing a ladder that groaned louder than my knees. Every bulb had been tested twice. Every table arranged just so. Emma deserved perfection. She stood in the center of the yard that evening, glowing in a pale blue dress that caught the last streaks of sunset. Her laughter drifted across the lawn, light and musical. And for a moment I saw her at 5 years old again, barefoot, chasing fireflies with a mason jar. Daniel stood beside her, tall, confident, one hand resting naturally at the small of her back as if it had always belonged there. He wore a navy suit without a tie, the top button open in a way that suggested success without effort. Everyone loved him. Neighbors clapped him on the back. My coworkers asked him about the tech space. His friends told stories about wild startup nights in Boston and early morning investor meetings that changed everything. And I smiled, because that's what fathers do when their daughters look happy. But something was off, not glaring, not dramatic. Just subtle. I'd raised Emma alone since she was 13. After my wife, Lavra, passed from ovarian cancer, Emma and I became each other's anchor. I learned to braid hair. I learned to sit silently through teenage storms. I learned that sometimes she didn't need advice, just presence, and I learned her tells. The way her right eyebrow lifted slightly when she was forcing enthusiasm. The way her fingers twisted the edge of her sleeve when something unsettled her. That night, she twisted her sleeve. Daniel leaned in close to her several times, whispering things that made her laugh, but the laugh ended too quickly. Her eyes scanned the yard, often searching. For what? I didn't know. I was refilling a tray of drinks when I felt a gentle tug at my sleeve. "Dad," she said softly. "Can we talk?" Her tone was steady. Too steady. We slipped through the side gate into the quiet strip of grass between our house and the neighbor's fence. The party sounds faded into a distant hum. Cicadas sang in the trees. She didn't look at me at first. Then she stepped closer, lowering her voice until it barely carried beyond us. "Dad, check his references." I blinked. "What?" "Please," she whispered. "Before the wedding. Check everything." Her fingers were cold. I felt something inside me tighten. "Emma, what's going on?" She hesitated. The pause was small, but I knew her well enough to measure it like a crack in glass. "He talks about his past like it's flawless," she said quietly. "But when I ask for specifics, he changes the subject. Or he gets defensive. That doesn't mean..." I tried looking up his first company. The one he said sold for 7 figures. Her eyes flicked toward the house. "There's almost nothing. No press coverage. No archive site. The LinkedIn pages he mentioned are gone." I said nothing, and tonight, she continued, voice trembling just slightly, one of his college friends asked about the Boston years. Daniel cut him off, hard, changed the subject immediately. She looked at me then, and I saw it clearly. Fear, not panic. Not melodrama, calculated fear. "Are you in danger?" I asked. "I don't think so," she said quickly. "I just feel like there's something I don't know." I placed my hands on her shoulders. "I'll look into it," I said. She nodded once. "Don't tell him," she added. We returned to the party wearing smiles we had perfected over years of surviving harder things. Daniel wrapped his arm around her again. I noticed his grip lingered slightly longer than necessary. That night, after the last guest left and the lights dimmed, I sat alone at the kitchen table. I opened my laptop. Daniel Harper, age 32, tech consultant, claimed graduate of Northeastern University, claimed founder of Finverity Solutions, Boston, 2016. Search. Nothing. No. Business registration under that exact name in Massachusetts. No acquisition record matching his story. No archive press mentions. That was odd. I broadened the search. There was a Daniel Harper who attended Northeastern, but the graduation year was 2 years off from what he told Emma, and the major listed wasn't computer science. It was communications. Maybe coincidence. I dug deeper. The Co-founder he often mentioned, Mark Ellis. No. Connection to Daniel Harper in any startup filings I could find. I checked. Business registries in neighboring states.arizona.nllc under Daniel Harper. Formed 3 years ago. Consulting services before that? A gap. 5 years of digital silence. No social media posts. No conference photos. No employment history. In 2026. That kind of absence wasn't normal. Unless it was intentional. The next morning, I made a call I hoped I'd never need to make. Jason Miller, a former neighbor's son. Now a private investigator. Run a background check, I told him. Quietly. 2 days later he called. Your future son-in-law used to go by a different name. My stomach dropped. What name? Daniel Hargrove? Silence swallowed the kitchen. Why change it? Because Hargrove is attached to a civil fraud case in Illinois. The word fraud felt like a punch to the chest. Explain. 5 years ago, he and a partner solicited investments for a tech platform. Promised guaranteed returns. The platform never existed. How much? About $400,000 total. I sat down slowly. Criminal charges? Plea deal. 2 years served. Released early. The room felt smaller. Any recent activity? No new charges, but he's moved states several times. Short-term consulting gigs. New LLCs, nothing stable. I thanked him and ended the call. Emma had trusted her instinct. Now, it was my turn to trust mine. That evening, I asked her to come over alone. She walked in already pale. You found something, she said. I handed her the file. Jason emailed me. Court documents. Name change. Filing.mugso2. Her breath hitched. He told me he changed his name for branding, she whispered. Emma. She scrolled through the case summary. I asked him once why his old friends never visited, she said quietly. He said they were jealous of his success. Tears slid down her cheeks, but she didn't collapse. She sat up straighter. He's been pushing to merge our finances, she added. Said it made strategic sense. Have you given him access? She nodded. Limited access. Joint planning. Ice filled my veins. We called her bank immediately. Froze shared permissions. Thankfully, nothing substantial had been transferred. That night, she called Daniel. I listened from across the room. I know about Illinois. She said, silence. Then his voice shifted sharp, defensive. You had me investigated? I asked you to be honest, she replied. You lied. I paid for that mistake, he snapped. I rebuilt my life. Then why hide it? He didn't answer directly. Instead, he tried another tactic. Your father never liked me. Emma's jaw tightened. This isn't about him. It's about trust, she said finally. And you broke it. The engagement ended that night. But the story and single quotes T. 2 weeks later, Emma received an email from a woman named Claire Benton. The subject line read, You don't know me, but I think we have something in common. Claire had been one of Daniel's investors. In Illinois, she had lost $75,000. He's charming, Claire wrote. He makes you feel chosen. But when you question him, he isolates you, slowly. Emma showed me the message. There were more, 3 other former victims reached out after Claire posted online that Daniel was engaged again. Patterns emerged that he targeted intelligent, financially stable women, moved fast, spoke in big visions, discouraged outside scrutiny. Emma sat quietly after reading them all. I almost married him, she whispered. But you didn't. I said, that should have been the end. But Daniel wasn't finished. A month later, I noticed a car idling across from my house late at night. Different nights. Same car. Silver sedan. One evening, I stepped outside and walked toward it. The engine started immediately and drove off. The next day, Emma received a text. You destroyed my reputation. No name attached. But we knew. I filed a police report. Restraining order paperwork followed. When served, Daniel finally revealed the side I had sensed beneath the polish. He sent a long message accusing Emma of betrayal, claiming she owed him for the opportunities he had. Planned for them. Opportunities. Not love. That word told me everything. Months passed. The legal process concluded quietly. He moved again, this time to Nevada. Emma started therapy, not because she was broken, but because she wanted to understand why she had ignored her instinct at first. One evening, nearly a year after the engagement party, we sat on the porch watching the sunset bleed orange across the horizon. Do you know what scares me most? She asked. What? That if I hadn't whispered to you that night, I might have convinced myself I was paranoid. I looked at her stronger now, wiser. But you did whisper, I said. She smiled faintly. I think Mom would have liked that, she added. She would have loved that. I replied. The string lights went back up that summer. Not for an engagement. Just for a barbecue. Friends filled the yard again. Laughter returned lighter this time. Real. Emma stood beneath the lights once more. No sleeve twisting. No forced smiles, just peace. Sometimes I think about that moment, the whisper in the dark side yard. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud, but it saved her. Because sometimes danger doesn't arrive shouting. Sometimes it arrives charming, polished, successful. And sometimes the difference between disaster and safety is a daughter trusting her instinct and a father listening. And every time I look at those string lights, glowing steady and warm, I remember that night, and I'm grateful. Grateful that she whispered. Grateful that I checked. And grateful that love, when it listens carefully enough, can see through even the most convincing lie. Asterisk. The letter should have scared us more than it did. Maybe we were tired. Maybe we had already spent too many months living in a low hum of anxiety. Or maybe, after everything, fear had simply changed shape. Emma folded the letter neatly after reading it. No trembling hands. No tears. Just a quiet inhale. You ruined my second chance. I hope you enjoy what's coming. You should have trusted me. 3 lines. No signature. But Daniel had always preferred implication over direct threats. It allowed him to deny everything later. We reported it immediately. The restraining order was still active, and this counted as a violation. The officer who came by that evening recognized us. He's testing boundaries, the officer said. Seeing if you'll react. We are reacting, Emma replied calmly. He nodded. Good. But the truth was, Daniel understood something about the system. Vague threats were difficult to escalate legally, and men like him thrived in gray areas. 2 weeks later, Emma's financial advisor called. Someone had attempted to log into her portfolio account using old credentials that had once been shared. When she was planning a life with Daniel, the login attempt had triggered a security freeze. He still has the information memorized, Emma said after hanging up. Or written down. I thought that was the moment something shifted in her. Not fear. Resolve. I don't want him to do this to someone else, she said that night, sitting at the kitchen table where we had once uncovered his fraud history. And I don't want the only reason he got caught in Nevada to be luck. You're thinking about going public, I said. I'm thinking about going factual. Over the next month, Emma worked quietly, methodically. She built a website, not emotional, not accusatory. Clean design, document-based, court records, verified aliases, timelines, patterns of behavior. She refused to speculate. Facts can't be sued, she said. When she launched the site, she didn't post it on social media immediately. She shared it privately with Claire, the woman from Illinois, who had first reached out after the engagement ended. Claire shared it with others. Within 72 hours, Emma had emails from women in 4 states. Different names, different cities. Same pattern. Daniel moved quickly in relationships. Within 3 months, he'd talk about marriage. Within 6, he'd propose. Within 8, he'd push to merge finances for efficiency. He spoke in big visions, joint ventures, real estate flips, consulting expansions. He encouraged them to trust his experience. He subtly discouraged outside opinions. One woman wrote, He said my dad was controlling when I asked him to review a contract. Emma, read that line 3 times. Then she looked at me. I almost believed that, she admitted. I didn't respond right. Oh wait, because I remembered the night she whispered. She hadn't almost believed it. She had trusted herself. The breakthrough came when a woman from Nevada reached out. Her name was Natalie, a real estate broker, recently engaged to a man named Daniel Hayes. Emma's stomach dropped when she read the engagement date. 3 weeks after ours had ended, Natalie agreed to speak on the phone. I sat across the room while Emma listened quietly, asking gentle questions. Yes, he had moved fast. Yes. He insisted on joint financial planning. Yes. He described an Illinois business dispute, but called it a misunderstanding. Natalie paused mid-sentence. He got angry when I asked for documentation, she said slowly. Said I didn't trust him? Emma closed her eyes briefly. Do you know his former last name? She asked. Silence. No. Emma gave it to her. There was a long, stunned quiet on the other end of the call. Within 48 hours, Natalie had contacted local authorities. That call triggered something bigger than any of us expected. When Nevada investigators began looking into Daniel Hayes, they uncovered irregular wire transfers between joint accounts and shell consulting firms. The money trail was cleaner than Illinois, but not invisible. They connected him to Daniel Hargrove. Then to Daniel Harper. Then to Emma's documentation. When the detective called to confirm the connection, his tone carried something I hadn't heard before. Gratitude. Your daughter's records made the difference, he said. Daniel was arrested 3 months later. This time, there was no charm-filled press statement. No social media persona, just a mugshot under a third name. The trial process was long, painfully procedural. Emma testified remotely. Clear voice, direct answers, no dramatics. The defense tried to frame Daniel as a reformed man being targeted by disgruntled former partners. The prosecutor countered with a timeline of aliases. Patterns don't lie. When the guilty verdict was read, Emma didn't cry. She simply exhaled. 7 years. After sentencing, she received dozens of messages from women thanking her. One message stood out. You gave me my intuition back. Emma stared at that line for a long time. What does that mean? I asked gently. It means he didn't just steal money, she said quietly. He stole self-trust. That realization changed the direction of everything. The website evolved into a non-profit initiative focused on relationship-based financial fraud awareness. She partnered with legal advocacy groups, spoke at small conferences, participated in podcasts about emotional manipulation. The first time she stood on a stage, I sat in the back row. She didn't mention Daniel by name. She told a story about a whisper. Sometimes, she said into the microphone, the bravest thing you can do is admit something feels wrong, even when everything looks right. The room was silent. She described how manipulation often hides behind charm, how urgency is used to bypass scrutiny, how isolation is subtle. She didn't speak like a victim. She spoke like someone who had walked to the edge and stepped back. After the event, several attendees approached her with quiet confessions. I thought I was crazy, one woman admitted. Emma smiled gently. You're not, she said. That night, back home, we sat on the porch under the same string lights that once illuminated her engagement party. You know what I've been thinking? She asked. What? If he hadn't sent that letter, I might have let it go. I might have moved on quietly. But he did send it, I said. Yeah, she nodded. And it showed me he wasn't sorry. He was resentful. Resentment had always been his flaw. He couldn't stand losing control. A year after his conviction, the fear was gone, not because we forgot, but because he'd know. Longer dictated our days. The house felt lighter again. Emma laughed easily, dated cautiously, asked harder questions, and when she met someone new slowly, organically, through mutual friends, she did something that made me smile, privately. She asked for references. Not suspiciously. Confidently. And when she told him about her past, about the whisper and everything that followed, he didn't grow defensive. He listened. One evening, As we watched the sunset bleed into gold and violet, she leaned her head on my shoulder. Dad? Yeah? Thank you for not dismissing me that night. I looked at her. I would never dismiss your instinct. She smiled softly. I think that's what saved me, she said. Not just the investigation. The fact that you believed me before there was proof. The string lights hummed above us, dot warm, steady, real. That whisper could have been swallowed. By music and laughter, dot, it could have been ignored. But it wasn't because of that. Everything that followed, every exposure, every conviction, every reclaimed voice started with something small. A daughter trusting the quiet warning inside her dot, and a father choosing to listen.